Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl, Princess Leah 888, and this is your daily divine messages from Spirit. This is your weekly wisdom for our first day of June. Our June. Happy June. We're going to see if there are some messages for overall of June and for this first week of the new month, new slate. And last night we closed out our month with the full moon, our blue moon, the second full moon in the month of May. And this was a full moon in Sagittarius, which was a full moon ending of closures, ending of cycles, closing out cycles around what is not true to you anymore, what is not honest for you, what is something that you have been holding back on, holding out on, and holding yourself back from your desires, what keeps you from being optimistic about your dreams, about moving forward, the resistance in it all. Why are you resistant? What are the limiting, disempowering, false agreements that have been draining away all of your hope? So last night, my son and I did our little ritual, wrote out wrote out as best as we could the things that we wanted to let go of. You see how my throat chakra tried to close up as I said that, because these are things that have been preventing us from being able to truly express our true selves. And it's not always easy to look at yourself in that light. It's not always easy or fun to have to call out your ego when it's trying to keep you small and to keep you limited. And what it thinks it's doing is to keep you safe, because it's what has kept you safe in the past. But now we are expanding, we're evolving, and we're becoming more of who we have always been to be. We're remembering who we truly are, and we are love. So when we sit in fear and when we sit in doubt, we are fragmenting ourselves off from the love that we are. And that's our daily mission. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My mission here is to do my part to heal the heart of the divine masculine and the sacred feminine through conscious love, as I intuitively channel from Spirit, gracious, omnipresent, divine, God, using the sound bowl healing, the heart chakra sound healing bowl, the Akashic Star Child Tarot, the Beyond Lemuria Oracles, the Moonology, and the Four Agreements to help us move into our next step, to help us let go of the worries that drain our days so we really can manifest and embody the essence of the divine conscious love that we are. If you are returning family or friend, welcome back, beloved. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your support. And let's begin, shall we? If you haven't already done so, let me make sure I remind you to hit that like button on your way in or out. If you're not already a part of my Vibe Tribe, make sure you subscribe if you'd like, and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever I go live. So as we begin, we tap into the heart chakra frequency, and whatever kind of thoughts come into mind, kind of downloads come into my heart, Spirit is here to do what Spirit can do through me to guide us, to give us any kind of assurance, direction, hope, and encouragement. And this is also for me too, so I'm just as much receiving it as you are. So you can close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, take a deep breath. What's coming up for me is a couple of things. The sound in the background reminds me of the rain and the storms we had last night, the big thunder cracks. Some places had some tornado warnings. Um, and I used to be really afraid of storms until I I thought of or I don't know how it came to me. I don't know if someone told me to think of it this way, or I don't know if it was my mom that told me to think of this way, or if it's just something that I heard or something that God told me. But when I thought of when I think of the rumbles and the thunder in heaven, and the heavens is what I hear, is what I call it, in the skies, in the ethers, to me, that is, excuse me, spirit working on fighting on our behalf up in the ethers before it can even reach us. And by the time it reaches the earth plane, it's transmuted into water, a cleansing, purifying water. And they're the tears of heaven, purging, clearing, cleansing, purifying on our behalf. So when there's big thunders and rumbles, what helps me go to sleep is to give thanks for the protection that is happening beyond what I can see. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, gracious, omnipresent, divine. Thank you, angels, for fighting battles that I don't have to fight, for transmuting energy that I don't have to transmute. And then another thought that was coming through right before that was this. Well, the phrase came up as imposter syndrome, and I was thinking about a movie that Indigo and I were watching last night, and it was a sci-fi movie. Kind of reminded me of like Transformers, but I keep forgetting what it's called. Pacific Rim, I think, something like that. The Uprising. So anyway, I thought it was a good movie. But one of the characters ended up being a villain, and the thing is, though, he was actually overtaken by, like, his brain was overtaken by something when they did something to his mind when they were trying to create these intelligences, artificial intelligences, robots or bot soldiers or whatever. And it ended up leaking, I guess, or whatever. Some sort of really dark entity ended up entering his mind, his brain. And so now he kind of had this like Jekyll and Hyde kind of persona. And I just think that that's very interesting, because when I'm hearing imposter syndrome, and that came up from hearing, how much we may practice our spiritual strengths, we may practice our spiritual hygiene, keeping our spiritual hygiene clean and protecting our energy and trying to stay in peace and love as best as we can, but then finding ourselves falling short sometimes, finding ourselves still, maybe not showing up the way that we want to show up, or maybe not making, and it might feel like a conflict, especially if if standing in your authentic truth might be contradictory to what someone else wants from you. It might stir up conflicting emotions because now you're not sure if because it feels like the peace is not there. In order to keep the peace, you have to abide or, please another. And if you don't, then you're not keeping the peace because you know, you're not pleasing them. But I'm hearing that keeping the peace is different than keeping your peace. So even if you are showing up in a way that helps keep you centered and helps protect your spiritual hygiene, let's say, for instance, you maybe don't interact with people as much as you used to. Maybe you don't go out as much as you used to. Maybe you don't do the same things you used to do that might confuse others who have known you to do those things. And now you're changing in their mind. You're becoming different. You're acting weird. You're not being fun anymore, they might say. And you might feel the tension and the temptation to go back to how you used to be to keep them happy because it's uncomfortable not being pleasing in other people's eyes. It's uncomfortable if other people are projecting their disappointment onto you as a way to try and control you to be how they want you to be. And it's easier to just go back to what is familiar. But what I'm hearing is there's like this it almost feels like a Jekyll and Hyde moment because it's like this battle, essentially, it feels between the ego mind and the conscious mind, breaking cycles, patterns, loops, beliefs. And that can feel very unfamiliar. You're re-channeling, you're rewiring your brain, you're redirecting your energy, you're recalibrating, rebalancing, restoring. And I just heard Pluto in Aquarius is in retrograde. And Pluto is the planet of transformation by facing your fears, by having to face all that is false, because fears are just false. Everything appearing real, false expectations appearing real, false evidence appearing real, false emotions appearing real, false ego appearing real, false energy appearing real. And so on one end, you might be feeling conflicted. You might be feeling like an imposter because you're trying to move into a new frequency, a new vibration, a higher vibration, a higher frequency of love and trust. Your nervous system is learning how to move in love and trust when for so long, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you've been moving in doubt and fear. Maybe you've been moving in shame and guilt. And so now when you're trying to move in pleasure and joy and bliss and love and trust, it's a whole different frequency. And the familiar, like the rubber band effect, wants to snap back to its old shape, its old ways. And it feels wrong because it's uncomfortable, because it's different. And others might also make you feel wrong. They might confirm or concur that it's wrong because it is not serving them anymore. Maybe you're learning how to speak up. Maybe you're learning how to set boundaries. Maybe you're learning how to honor yourself. Maybe you're learning how to ask for what you want and what you need. Maybe you're learning how to say no to what you don't want anymore. Maybe you're recognizing energy behaviors in others that are no longer aligning with what you want to allow in your field anymore. And that can be a very scary and uncomfortable place to be because it's unpredictable. Scary doesn't mean bad. It's unpredictable. Is it really scary or is it unpredictable? The scary that it feels is because you don't know what's going to happen. It's because you don't know how they're going to react. And you don't know if they're going to shame you or shun you, if they're going to leave you or abandon you. But I'm hearing you are safe, my beloved. You are not doing anything wrong. You can't get it wrong. You're learning. And if you tuned in over the weekend wisdom, one of the cards from Don Miguel Ruiz that's coming to mind's eye was practice. Just keep doing your best to practice making the master of yourself. And it takes time as you are letting go of old, outdated versions of you, of yourself, of your thoughts, of your belief patterns. When you have been believing, thinking the same thought over and over for decades, it's not going to be an overnight change where all of a sudden you never have those thoughts again. You never have those fears again. You never have those doubts again. It's like when someone says, you didn't gain 100 pounds overnight. You're not going to lose 100 pounds overnight. It takes exercise, discipline, practice, daily commitment. And you're not going to always get it right, but you can't get it wrong because you're always learning. You're always expanding. And you're allowed to expand. You're allowed to learn. You're allowed to reflect and say, you know what, that didn't feel good. I don't like that. Let's do something else. You're allowed to say, you know what, I liked this before, but I don't anymore. You're allowed to say, you know what, I changed my mind. And I love that the commercial now turns on because it's saying it's okay to shift. It's okay to change your environment. It's okay to stop what was playing and start something new. And it's okay to let the distractions in the background come up. That doesn't mean you have to be sucked in or absorbed by them. And I'm hearing the second time of this commercial coming on. And the lyric is saying, I do better when you do better. I do better when you do better. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and change this because I don't really feel like talking over this ad anymore. Thank you, Spirit. And look at that. As soon as I am ready to go change it, the ad ends and the new meditation begins. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes if you just live through, let the distractions pass by, if you try to see the message in the distractions instead of being annoyed by this ad, what are they saying? And the lyric said, I do better when you do better. And so I'm also hearing that as an additional message about this whole imposter syndrome as you are shifting out of the old and into a new version of you, not even the new version of you, the true version of you, the one that's always been there, but it has been overshadowed and pinched off with fear and doubt and other people's opinions and distractions. And it's saying, you know what? This is actually the truth. I do better when you do better. And that's actually what people don't realize, as they are maybe shaming you or shunning you or judging you for how you are moving in your life if it's different than how you used to move. But the truth is that they may not see now is that I do better when you do better. We do better when you do better. You do better when I do better. So it's not about what they're doing. And if they want to put their focus and attention on what you're doing, your that's not your job. What matters is how you are doing. Are you doing better? Because it will inevitably also shift the energy and the trajectory of how others do. They may not know it at first, they may not realize it at first, they may not like it at first, but eventually you standing in your truth, you holding true to what your heart knows, and the King of Crystals standing, grounding in your truth, being unmovable, unshakable as the King of Pentacles, King of Crystals, the final king of all the tarot, who has learned from all of his past experiences of how to be a grounded, abundant, stable king. You know what he's learned? He's followed his heart. He's let his heart guide him. And so, who wants to stay out? And the Page of Swords here. The Messenger. The Stalker of the Tarot. Some like to joke. You might have been, I'm hearing, watched like a hawk by others, which is why you find yourself sometimes doubting your capabilities. If other people, maybe since you were a child, have tried to dictate how you feel or should feel. Maybe you have been so obsessed around pleasing others that you have forgotten how to please yourself. Look at this, the Lovers underneath this. So you see how the Vesica Pisces here of the feminine and the masculine rings come together and form one slash third ring. They go from two rings, and instead of having their one ring, there is now a third that is mixed with the both of the feminine and masculine energy. Now we are in Gemini season, which is the card associated with the Lovers in tarot, because they are the twins, the Geminis, the twins. And that feminine masculine duality, the yin and the yang, the light and the shadow, this is what this represents. The non-physical and the physical is what the feminine masculine energy represents, which is within us all. The non-physical and the physical. The feminine is that creative, the emotions, the feelings, the sensations, the sensualities, the creativities, the receiving, receptivity, the receiving of the downloads, of the ideas. And the masculine is the fruition, manifesting it into fruition, bringing it into the physical. The King of Crystals is here of bringing it into the physical. And so maybe you have been obsessed about love since you were a child. I'm just hearing that for some. Maybe you have always been, obsessed with the idea of partnership, companionship, love, and what that truly means. I know I have always been a seeker of love. That's why my channel and my mission and what has been put on my heart is the road to conscious love, is to heal the heart of the masculine, because that's where the masculine energy stores their wounds, is in the heart, and the feminine stores their wounds in the sacral. And that's why it's been my obsession, so to speak, to understand conscious love. That doesn't mean I know all of the ins and outs just because I have been a student of it my whole life, but to recognize that the merging of it requires attention and focus, but it also requires to listen to and follow and align with your own heart, not the heart of your partner and the desires of your partner, to the point where you lose your own self and the process. The Five of Wands and the Four of Cups here underneath, this is of competition. In my mind's eye, the Five of Wands is needing to prove, feeling like you need to prove or earn your respect, or earn love, or prove yourself worthy. And after this Four of Cups here, with this Four of Cups, as she holds herself close and covers herself and looks at this fallen cup, as she's been hurt and betrayed, wounded and violated, perhaps that is what has kept her and pinched off from her true authentic self, from being able to truly love and trust in this desire of love. But in order for her to be able to move into this, look at that, Two of Cups, and to Three of Cups, take the steps to move into healthy, equal partnership and soul tribe with the right people, the right energies, is she does have to leap. She has to leap out of this world up here. She has to leap off of this cliff into this unknown portal, just as we were talking about earlier. That sometimes it can feel scary because you have to leave what you have known. What have you known? You've known hurt and betrayal. You've known that you have to prove and earn and fight for your right to just be, to be loved and to love you. And that is now falling away, but you have to trust that when you take that leap of faith, you will flow into, you will land in this stream, this flow, to allow yourself to go with the divine flow is what I'm hearing. In partnership, to not feel the need to have to control the partner dynamic or to be controlled. It's not either or, black or white. It's both and. You both have control in the dynamic, and the only thing you can control in the dynamic is yourself. But if you want to control the outcome of your life, you first have to master your inner heart alignment. You have to master how to direct and flow with your true, authentic desires and truth and wishes and dreams and love. They flow together. They both equally give, offer, and receive love to each other, from each other. And that's what forms that third synergistic energy. beautiful. So that's a beautiful little excerpt here with the Star Child Akashic Tarot. It may or may not resonate with everyone who hears, may not make sense to everyone who listens. But if it does, I trust that it will reach who it reaches. If it makes sense for you in your particular story, this is very generally speaking. But if it's something that aligns with what what you are experiencing, or if it makes sense in your journey, then that message is for you. Hit that like button because you are radically expanding. That's what's happening in this month of June is a radical expansion. This first week of June, first day of June, you are going through a radical expansion. Your heart, you can see her heart is opening, and this dragon is coming through. Dragon, a majestic creature, this white dragon of purity. And the number 40, my throat is wanting to close off. Because as your heart radically expands, your throat as your heart radically expands, your truth will automatically follow suit and want to be expressed. And the blockages that are trying to come up and close the throat chakra are preventing you from being able to graciously receive. I've been seeing this card in my mind's eye a lot lately. This gives me the Empress energy. It's what I associated with for me the other day. Gracious receptivity. You see there's an eye on her throat chakra. And the two hummingbirds meeting each other as mates. The transformation of the butterflies. The Star of David, as above, so below. The tear coming out of her third eye. The crystal crown on her crown chakra, the feathers of her ancient wisdom, ancient ancestors. She is graciously receiving it all. She's receiving it all, that she can see it all. She can see what she speaks. She is not alone in this journey. She is protected. She is guided. She may not be able to see everything with her two human eyes, but she's got this third eye awakened, purifying, cleansing, crying, as she graciously receives the abundance. As above, so below, as within, so without. She's graciously receiving the blessings, the beauties, the benefits without shame, without guilt, without fear, without doubt, without second guessing, without criticism, without judgment. Because she knows that she is protected. She's moving through her portal and she is protected. I believe this card came out on Friday as well. This evil eye here in the back of this Egyptian cat to tell us that we are protected from all evil. That Jekyll and Hyde energy, trying to doubt, trying to go back to this low frequency of fear and anger and resentment and bitterness and weary. You're protected as you move through this portal. 50. We just were at 40 for the radical expansion. 50, we're taking leaps by the decade. And number 28, which reduces to 10, of completions of cycles, of shifts, of stability. So this card, are these all flipped over? These all flipped over. So a bunch of Moonology cards flipped over earlier. So I think it's kind of funny that I put them back in the deck and now a bunch of more cards want to flip over still. So, Moonology, as we had this full moon in Sagittarius, the moon wants to talk to us, our feminine Mama Moon. She says conclusions are within reach. Full moon eclipse. Conclusions are within reach. Surrender to the divine. Full moon. Look at that very first one out. Surrender to the divine. I love that. Full moon. And look, new moon in Gemini. Communication is key. Communicate. Speak your truth. Speak from your heart. Speak with grace. Look, more Gemini, full moon in Gemini. The answers you need are coming, especially when you communicate. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Another full moon in Capricorn. Conclusions are within reach, and the end of a tough cycle. The tough cycles that we have, and the next full moon that we'll have will be in Capricorn. So maybe between this last full moon of Sagittarius yesterday and the next full moon in Capricorn in just, 4 weeks or so, there's going to be some conclusions, a tough cycle that you've been going through. Maybe it's the tough cycle of surrendering, the tough cycle of trusting, the tough cycle of doubt and fear and all of it, because a new start is coming. I love this. New moon. So we have the full moon, surrender to the divine, and we have the new moon, a new start is coming. I'm just going to put this here so you can see it. And then our last one for Moonology, full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. I love that. A new start is coming, and all you need to know is that you are good enough. You are good enough to receive the grace, the gracious, omnipresent, divine, G-O-D. You are good enough to receive God's love. You are gracious. You are gracious. I meant to say you are good enough, but Spirit wants to speak through me and say you are gracious. Surrender. This full moon yesterday has been asking us to surrender. My throat wants to close because the blockages that have been clenching down in my throat chakra expression. You see all this blue. Throat chakra is blue, wanting to close, close its eye in the throat, close what it sees, close what it feels. Even I just noticed there's a tear coming from the eye in the throat. Clearing, cleansing, closing. For you to know that it is safe to surrender to the divine, look, I love this, gracious receptivity, surrender to the divine, the gracious, omnipresent, divine, G-O-D. But what you got to do is you got to communicate. That's the key. I love that we have the new moon and full moon in Gemini, as we're in Gemini season right now. We have the full moon in Capricorn and Virgo, both earth signs. We have the full moon and the new moon out here. Surrender to the divine. A new start is coming. And look who wants to come out. The author of the Four Agreements himself, Don Miguel Ruiz. It's so funny when this one card wants to come out because it's like his direct spirit wants to speak. Don Miguel Ruiz is a Nagual from the Eagle Knight lineage and is dedicated to sharing his knowledge of the teachings of the ancient Toltec. Don Miguel is the New York Times bestselling author of The Four Agreements, The Mastery of Love, and Prayers. He lives in San Diego, California, and his letter to us, Dear friends, I've written these cards to offer you a simple yet powerful code of conduct for attaining personal freedom and true happiness. There are 12 cards corresponding to each of the four agreements. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Number 4, always do your best. These cards will help you transform your life as you recover the awareness and wisdom of your authentic self. With love, Don Miguel Ruiz. Thank you. Thank you. That was a beautiful letter to us. His spirit wants to come through to speak directly and say, these are the four agreements. This is what I mean. This is why I've done it. Because this is to help you transform your life and recover the awareness and wisdom of your authentic self, your true authentic self. That's all we've been talking about, right? So we can heal the heart of the divine masculine, so we can heal the sacred feminine through conscious love. And that takes awareness and wisdom. So be impeccable with your word, because you are here to enjoy heaven on earth. The first agreement. Let's start with the first agreement. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, success, and abundance. You can attain the kingdom of heaven as above, so below here in gracious receptivity from this one agreement to be impeccable with your word. That's the portal that we're moving through, out of fear and doubt and into love and trust. Even this second card underneath this says, be impeccable with your word again. Realize the power of your word. This is how we can enjoy heaven on earth, as above, so below. To be mindful of our words, to be mindful of the thoughts that come through our minds, to be mindful of the agreements that we choose from the beliefs and the thoughts that come through. And my throat just continues to close because there is truth in this that wants to be restricted out of fear. But continue to clear your throat, continue to clear the blockages, continue to not let the distractions, the noise, and even the gunk that's still stuck in the bottom of your throat pull you, steer you, or scare you away from your true authentic self, because the world needs that gift that only you have, as Marie Forleo likes to say. We do need you. And I love you. And this is a beautiful message. I have a feeling that my alarm's going to go off for the 5 minutes of happiness any second. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. I'm going to say thank you. If any of this resonated, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to my Vibe Tribe, do subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can know whenever I go live. And until next time, my beautiful beloveds, I will see you in the next moon. Peace and love. Namaste. Bye.